Well, I guess we might as well look at the Master Yi followers, huh? Alright. Here we go. Twitter reveals! Woo! Who needs mobalytics, am I right? Alright, let's start off with just left to right. Vastayan Disciple. 1 mana, 1/1 elusive. Nexus Strike, recall me, and transform me into Shimon Wind. Which is a 2 mana burst spell. Summon a Vastayan Disciple and draw 1. Whoa. Okay. That's an interesting combo. Power creep? Of what? Of Dancing Droplet? It's not really power creeping Dancing Droplet. Of the 2/1 that recalls on Nexus Strike. They serve different purposes. I don't think this is power creeping those cards. This card is different from those cards. Because you're always paying 1 mana for those. This becomes a 2 mana burst summon. Right? So you're increasing the price for the cost of the burst summon. The draw 1 is a little stupid. I don't think it needs to draw 1 in addition to that. But this isn't competing with Dancing Droplet or the Mourned or the Mourning, one of those two. But you can use spell mana, yeah, but you draw 1. Yeah, these are worthy arguments, but again, I don't think this is power creep of those cards. This is a different enough card from those two. I don't think the draw 1 is needed. The burst gives so much defensive value for Ionia. I think this card is good. I'm not denying that this card is good. I just don't think calling it creep is accurate, because what this card does is different from those two. The Morge recalls itself to be a unit that you're constantly replaying and replaying. Shimon Wind is something that you can't constantly replay at 1 mana as a cheap unit to get down, because every time you gotta use it as a burst spell. There are more times where being a burst spell is more valuable, i.e. using spell mana and whatnot, will help in slower Ionia decks. Yeah, that's a good point. But the Mourned and Dancing Droplet are intended for faster-paced aggression decks. This is not what this card is. This card is different enough, and I don't think it's fair to call it all that. Anyway, June the Prodigy. Worth noting here, before I read the card, this is supposedly the person in... down here. Momentous Choice, according to the flavor text. She's the person who takes Zelani's blades. So if we're looking into potential Darkin, this guy is about to become a Darkin. Worth noting. The first time I am equipped, give me Barrier and Lifesteal this round. It's a 3 mana 4/3. Whoa. Okay. That's kind of hype. Alright, well this is more confirmation that equipment is going to be readily available in Ionia. This seems like a pretty good card. 3 mana 4/3 is a pretty fucking good stat line. Usually for 3 mana cards, if they're gonna give 4 and 3 for stats, they do it the other way around, where it's 3 power 4 health. Doing it as 4 power 3 health when you're gonna give something lifesteal inherently is not a bad idea. And keep in mind too, the requirement to get the Barrier and Lifesteal, so the Spirit's Refuge, basically, is to equip it. Meaning, more likely than not, this power is gonna be closer to like 5 or 6. Somebody said I wouldn't be surprised if this got nerfed to 3 attack. I absolutely can see that happening with how equipment just tends to give attack. I don't know, maybe it's a thing with Yi where the equipment in Ionia will give defensive stat lines rather than aggressive stat lines. And in that case, then maybe they won't nerf the health, or maybe they won't nerf the power. But even still, I'd be kind of surprised if this power stayed at 4 mana. This seems like a really good card. I'm unsure. I don't think this will see play. It's going to depend fully on equipment, whether or not this card sees play. If equipment is good, this card will absolutely see play. If Ionia is how I've been theorizing it to be, if Ionia is the main deckable equipment region, and one of the bigger main deckable equipment regions, which Mistfall really seems to imply that it will be, then I think the Prodigy will see play. Speaking of main deckable equipment in Ionia, 4 mana +3/+2 Soul Sword. Flow, I cost 2 less. We don't know what flow is, do we? They just threw a new keyword at us, huh? Cool. Alright. That's a beefy sword. It is a pretty beefy sword. Alright, well, let's I guess let's just wait to see what flow is. My guess right now, just looking at these cards, flow is going to be if you've played a spell this round. Flow is triggered. It's like Plunder, where you need a specific thing to trigger it. My guess is flow is going to be if you've played a spell this round. Trigger my effect. My guess is if you've recalled. Maybe. That would actually make sense too. Disciple of Doran, 2 mana 2/2. When I'm summoned, create a preparation in hand, which is a 1 mana focus. Reduce the cost of a spell in your hand by 1. Played 2 spell this round. Looking at preparation, I think it is, honestly. With Eye of the Dragon and Lee Sin. Oh, yeah. No, that would absolutely make sense. It's definitely spell-focused. I think you're absolutely correct that Flow is played 2 spells this round. With Preparation, reducing the cost of a spell in your hand by 1, while being 1 mana itself, right? Like, that's very obviously intended to just be a trigger to get your spells off. This is clearly just intended to be a trigger for Lee Sin and for Eye of the Dragon and whatnot. As is, Disciple of Doran is pretty fucking good for Lee Sin decks, right? This card alone in a Lee Sin deck is incredible. Preparation is basically just a free spell trigger. Because you play this on the spell you're gonna play. And then you're paying the same amount of mana anywhere. It doesn't change. You're still playing the same amount of mana. Soul Sword. Flow, I cost 2 less. So I think this is pretty well balanced, because this at 4 mana feels kinda iffy. Well, does it? I mean, I was already hyping up the Dragon Bracers in the past, which were +3/+3, Fury, I am a Dragon. This doesn't have Fury or I am a Dragon, but +3/+2 is still a nice effect. That's already been priced at 3 mana at burst speed, thanks to Sharpened Resolve and Noxus. So 4 mana for a permanent effect does make sense. But if you're able to play 2 spells in a turn before you get this off, then this becomes 2 mana, and then this equipment becomes ridiculously good. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So, people have been talking. From what I can tell, people think Flow is not played 2 spells this turn, but played 2 spells last turn. Which would make sense, actually. That is basically what Eye of the Dragon is, right? You play 2 spells last turn, and then it summons... Then it summons the Eye of the Dragon. Or not the Eye of the Dragon, the Dragonling. So, if it's 2 spells last turn, that makes Flow even better than I thought it was. Yeah, okay. Thinking with that consideration in mind, most likely it being played 2 spells last turn, Flow is a hell of a lot scarier. Because you can spend a turn where you're just playing 2 spells, and then the next turn you can focus on playing your Flow cards. You can do Soul Sword at much cheaper than usual. You can do a bunch of different stuff. That also bumps up Vastayan Disciple, because Shimon Wind is effectively just one of your Flow triggers. So you can even do it with Vastayan Disciple. Oh, I see what they're trying to go for here. Turn 1, you play Vastayan Disciple. Turn 2, you play Disciple of Doran. Turn 3, you play Preparation on the Shimon Wind. And that's your Flow trigger for turn 4. And now you've got the Soul Sword, which you can discount to 2 cost on turn 4, and use that on Disciple of Doran, most likely. Ionia looks like it's going to be a lot stronger as a region after today. And I honestly got to say, I am interested. You have my attention, Riot. I might want to play Ionia for the first time in my life. Alright. We got our first champion riddle. Let's see what it is.
He who has mastered the way of the blade strikes with precision and cannot be swayed. Think you know the answer? Find out tomorrow.
Okay, so it's just teasing that we're getting Yi. When we already knew we were getting Yi. I kind of assumed these were going to be riddles for children. I didn't think it was going to be this much of a riddle for children, where they literally have to not be able to see anything. Alright, that was underwhelming. All the hype that I had for the riddles are kind of gone now. Because I'm assuming it's just going to be more like this. I mean, if they post the riddles earlier, like if they post the riddles after the champion comes out, so like, alright, if they want to fix this, right? If they want to make this interesting for the future, post Master Yi tomorrow, and then post the riddle for the next not for the next child. Post the riddle for the next champion after that. So that way we're going, okay, who could this be? Oh, it's gonna be Ornn or something like that. And then we're gonna see it the next day and be like, wowee, it was Ornn! And we'll see his followers and whatnot, right? Post the riddle after you reveal the previous champion. That lets hype get generated for more time, over multiple days. Right? Alright? Can we do that, Riot? Can we do that? Fix that. Fix that and these riddles become like 10 times more interesting.